We're here, we're queer, and we will continue to change the world. Welcome to Queer Changemakers. I'm your host, Justin Mezzapin, pronouns he, him, and each episode will share stories of LGBTQ plus individuals who are taking action to make a difference in our communities and beyond. Today we have Heather Vickery. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you're up to?
Of course, I would like to introduce myself and tell you what I'm up to. Thank you for having me, Justin. My name is Heather Vickery. I am a transformational success coach. And what I'm really here to do is help you master what I call the trifecta of self, knowing, liking, and trusting yourself. And listen, we are the queer community, and that is not always intuitive to us to really know ourselves truly and like ourselves and trust ourselves. And you are worthy of that endeavor. And I am here to help as many people as possible build that foundation of knowing themselves and feeling worthy and taking up space as humanly possible. And I freaking love this work I get to do.
I think about those three things and I don't always hear them together. Take it back. I usually hear that in the marketing world where they're like, yeah, you want to work with people you
Yeah.
know, like, and trust. And I like how you're
Yes.
taking that and making it personal. So,
Yeah.
how did you get into this work?
Yeah. Great question. Thank you. Thank you for asking. So I have been an entrepreneur almost all of my adult life. I learned very quickly out of college that while I worked well with people, I did not work well for people. So my first business was as a luxury event and wedding planner here in Chicago. And I did that for a long time and back before social media existed. So I look back and I'm like, how the hell did I build this business? I don't even really know, but I did. And then fast forward many, many years, in fact, well over a decade, married, four kids, thriving business. Uh, I came out. So it took me a minute.
Mhm.
And as I was in that process and like figuring out not just who I was, but what I wanted my life to look like and to feel like and who I wanted to be in the world, I realized that I have all the admiration in the world for event and wedding planners, but that was not where my heart was at. And what I started to recognize when I actually started to know, like, and trust myself was that other people saw me as a guide and a lead and a coach. And I started to pay attention. People were stopping me every day, emailing, texting, calling. I want to do this. I want to try this. I want to start this. I think you can help. Will you talk to me? I think you can help. And it was about anything you can imagine. It was about growing their business or getting a divorce or just, I want to feel happier or I'm not connecting with my kids or whatever it is. It could have been anything. So I was like, okay, let me pay attention to this. And to kind of burn my whole life to the ground in one foul swoop, I got a divorce and closed a thriving business and started another one and bought my own house and just wild, wild times about 10 years ago. And that is what led me first down this path.
Wow. Um, I appreciate that a lot because, burning it all down, it's a full family, four kids. That's
Yeah.
and a thriving career too, right? That's
Yeah.
a lot to let go of.
It was, but it felt really necessary to totally start over on my own terms and not from where society always told me I needed to be, but instead where I wanted to be, what felt good to me. And I have to be honest, Justin, that's an ever evolving process. I've been on this path now for 10 years. I've been coaching for 10 years. I've been out everywhere for 10 years. And I'm still constantly relearning how to love myself, how to actually listen to myself, how to trust myself to take what I like to call expansive action, not just at work, but everywhere. Because these are things that it's not like you climb the mountain and you put your, how like a mountain climber does, you put your flag in, and you're like, I've made it. That's not really the way it works. We just kind of have to redo this work over and over. We put self imposed glass ceilings on us in addition to all the boundaries that society wants to put on us. So this work just continuously evolves.
Wow. So you said expansive action.
Mm.
I've heard like massive action and passive action, but what does that mean for you?
Expansive action means taking intentional action that helps you expand in the ways that you want to. And that isn't, success has to be self defined. So it isn't, we're not necessarily talking about work or making a certain amount of money, but what feels expansive to you? Is it actually feeling joy? Is it actually saying no to people pleasing or to something that you don't want to do? Is it saying yes to something that lights you up? A lot of my work, so I'm certified in human design and subconscious reprogramming, NLP, things like that. A lot of this work requires people to get really aware of your body. Like, what does your body feel about the things you're doing? Because our brains are, they're busy, right? And they tell us stories that we've made up. They tell us stories that other people have provided us or put on us, but your body knows the truth if you can learn to listen to it. So for me, I know, and for hundreds of clients that I've worked with, expansive action feels expansive internally. Like you can literally feel that this thing will expand you in some capacity.
Okay. Nice. So,
You're so quiet. I can't tell if you're like, this lady's crazy or if you're just processing.
so
It
my
made you
initial
laugh.
response is two things can be true,
That is
but
true. Two things can be true. Yeah, I might be
but
crazy.
no,
I don't know if
I'm
I'm crazy about this, but I'm sure there are plenty of things.
but I'm taking notes and also thinking, and it's hard to think out loud on a podcast, especially because then it's you get that background stuff. And over the past season and a half of the show, I have edited every episode myself, and I've
Oof, that's
learned
a
I
lot of
say
work.
the word a lot. So I'm trying to avoid
Oh,
that as well
okay.
so that it makes
All
the
right.
editing easier.
I honor that.
Just letting the listeners know a little bit behind the curtain of how this is done. So, in your journey over the past 10 years, you said a lot of this work requires people to get into their body. And
Mhm.
sort of the goal is to help people know, like, and trust themselves.
Yeah.
Do you have something you can share where maybe before you weren't trusting yourself or liking yourself or knowing yourself, and like how you
You
got through
mean
that
you
process?
mean beyond following all of society's rules and getting married and having babies with somebody who's the wrong gender? That's a good one. Um, yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
but I
I'm
mean,
being a smartass.
and I feel
Yes,
like, right, like,
I'm being a smartass. Yeah. When I first, that was wow. I don't know where that accent came from. When I first started coaching, I really thought I needed to build my business in a way that I had seen other people build successful businesses. And I was fighting with myself to be in sort of that hustle that other people had prescribed for me in order to be successful. But the more work that I've done and the more honest I am, and particularly getting exposed to human design, that's absolutely changed the game for me. I've realized that I'm not designed to work the way everybody else does. I'm a projector in human design. I'm here to rest before I'm successful. I don't have a motor. I can't go, 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 go. So I was holding myself to these ridiculous standards that were not designed for me, that did not help me be successful, and they didn't help me help other people. So over the course, particularly of the last like 3 years, I have been unraveling and rebuilding my business in a way that feels all aligned and authentic to me. And again, expansive in my body, gets me excited about how I'm doing the work. And that has helped me zero in on who and how I help, because I started doing, originally it was business coaching specifically. I was working only with entrepreneurs, and I've been talking back to a lot of my old clients because people come back over and over. It's impressive. And I say, why did you pick me? And why do you keep coming back? And the overwhelming answer I got was because I helped them know, like, and trust themselves. You helped me listen to myself. You helped me believe in myself. You helped me know that I had what I needed to be successful. So in the end, I don't want to help. I'm not a business consultant. I don't want to help somebody build a business. I want to help somebody build themselves. And you can do badass things with that. You can build businesses or start podcasts or write books or just be happy. A client texted me yesterday and said, "Why can't I just be happy living a little trans life out in the country? Why do I feel like I have to be a walking educational tool all the time?" And I said, "I don't know. Why do you feel that way? But let me ask you a question. If every trans person just lived a life that felt happy and aligned to them, if they were allowed to do that, would
Mhm.
that would that make the world better?" And my client was like, "Well, yeah." And I'm like, "Yeah." So don't put pressure on yourself to have to do or be something that's not there for you to do or be. But it takes work to know that.
So I do think there's a lot of us who are just like your client who think, here's how you do the thing. Here's how you
Yeah,
do a podcast or start a business or the house you should
absolutely.
live in or the place. And that's awesome how you can help people with that.
Thank you.
Um, hmm. Is
My only
there
rule is that there are no rules. You get to define it and create it however you want to define it and create it. My job isn't to tell you what it should be or how to do it. My job is to help you identify what it is and discover a way to create it and build it that actually works for you and feels freaking great.
that sounds helpful. Sounds helpful.
That's good to know.
I'm like processing that. And my only rule
Process.
is there are no rules. And
Yeah, I don't like rules. They piss me off.
that's fair. I don't think I like them, but in the back of my mind, I think I need them because I feel like there are people who skirt the rules in less than
Mhm.
helpful ways. And maybe there's also just a little bit of me not wanting to make up my own rules.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, it feels scary, right? Taking radical responsibility for yourself, your choices, and your actions puts you in center focus. And I don't want to say, I'm not necessarily saying laws, like obviously, I'm not saying that you should go out and be a terrible person. What I'm saying is build it in a way that feels good to you. And yes, within core values, right? Have integrity, be a good, kind hearted person, be thoughtful, all of those things. But how you do that, that's going to vary person to person.
with that, what are some ways, let's say someone who's never heard of coaching or thinks coaching is not for them,
Yeah.
what are some ways they can ask themselves whether or not they need a coach?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you for asking. My online business manager, just so she's young, and she just told me the other day, she's like, most of my friends don't even like know what coaching is or what coaches are. And I forget because I know a gazillion coaches. This is my
Mhm.
business. I network with all of these people. Um, Coaches are not therapists. Some coaches can be therapists, but in general, we are not. But what we are here to do is help you. It's literally to guide you. Good coaches don't tell you what to do or even how to do something. Good coaches help you come up with those answers on your own. And it's action oriented. Never going to come into a session with me and just talk to get it off your chest. I love doing that. Therapy is great for that. Friends is great for that. You should definitely go. I remember my own mentor saying if somebody goes up to a tree and tells them all of their troubles, they're going to walk away feeling better. And you're definitely more useful than a tree. I appreciate that. But we do work. When you're working with me, we do work. There is introspective work, and it is not easy work. It is hard, honest work. When we are radically honest with ourselves, we do not always want to hear the answers, but then we know, then we have awareness. Once you have awareness, you either have to take action or be honest with yourself that you're choosing not to take action. So as a coach, my job is to help you move through those steps and clarify intentional action so that you can get to where you want to go. If you aren't sure whether or not a coach is right for you, first of all, just let me know and we can have a chat and we can have a conversation and I can help you decide if this is the right thing for you or not. But in general, to know whether or not you want to go down that path, I ask you this, are you getting the results that you want on your own? Is it doing what you want it to do for you? Do you need accountability or support? And would having an outside perspective to, support you and guide you, help you get where you're going a little bit faster? And, listen, as a coach, I take one on one clients, I do VIP days, but I also have really easy ways for people to show up for themselves, including the Spark Collective membership, which as of, I don't know when this episode's going to air, as of today is only $8 a month. Starting April 25th, it's going to go up to $18 a month. Even that, super reasonable. They're just little bite-sized ways. It's designed for busy people who want to show up for themselves, but they're not going to spend that hour or 2 hours every day journaling and meditating and all of those things. I
Mhm.
sound like I'm making fun of them. I'm not, but most people I know, especially if you have commitments or, a full-time job or family or anything like that, we don't always have that hour or 2 hours every day. So I provide ways for you to show up for yourself 10 or 15 minutes a day, a couple times a week. I love the Spark Collective for that because I've really tried to make it very equitable for everyone to be able to show up for themselves. But yeah, you've got to decide, like, am I getting the results that I want on my own, or would it be nice to have a cheerleader in my corner that's not going to bullshit me and that's going to help me expand?
What is the Spark Collective that you just mentioned? Because
Yeah, the Spark Collective is my membership. It's housed in the Telegram app. If you're not familiar with Telegram, don't freak out on me. It's free and it's easy and it's a super safe platform, which is why I picked it. Um, I designed Spark in a way that you could have community if you were seeking community, but
Mhm.
you also could just go in and get your shit for yourself and walk away if that's the headspace or if that's what you currently need. So every Monday I drop an intuitive journal prompt, which I pull directly from human design transits. You can be into human design and be excited about it or not give a shit about it, and still this journal prompt will really support you. And I don't tell people how to journal. Yes, you can sit down and write. You could talk something out and record it. You could just talk to a friend. You could just sit and reflect and think on it. Again, not here to tell people what to do or how to do it, only to invite folks to explore and see what works for themselves. And then once a month, I drop a content drop. That could be anything. It's all consumable in 15 minutes or less. I've done quick win mini courses for confidence, for goal setting, for how to set boundaries, for how to rest. But I also do guided EFT tapping meditations or visualizations, bringing in some subconscious reprogramming stuff soon that's specifically maybe subliminal hypnosis, really cool shit like that. I get really excited about all the new things I'm learning, and then I can't help but just include it for everything. I'm like, if I love it, somebody else is going to love it. So I have to talk about it. So that's the Spark Collective. And like I said, right now it's $8 a month. It's going to go up to $18 a month, but it's quite frankly worth like 100 times that. It really is like what we're getting for people. It's changing the game and on your own terms in a way that works for you, but you still get that accountability and that support, which makes a huge difference.
Wow, nice, nice. You mentioned human design a couple
Oh,
times.
yeah.
What is how would you explain that to someone who has no idea what that means as a term?
Absolutely. I will do that. Do you know what it means, Justin? Are you familiar with human design?
I I've heard people talk about it in different ways,
Okay.
and I would say no.
Okay. Great. I will give the same answer that I would have got given before, but I was just curious. So, human design is a modern self discovery system. It is not a personality test. It is not like the Myers Briggs or even the Enneagram where you self select answers. It is based on several different ancient philosophies and sciences, including the Chinese I Ching, Kabbalah, Buddhism, quantum physics, astrology, and the chakra system based on your birth date, time, and location. And I know I might have lost some of you already, but really it works. Trust me, I can see how you are designed to experience the world, how you are best able to make quick, intuitive decisions, what your dharmic gifts are, what your strengths are, whether or not you like to be structured or routined, the best environment for your own creativity. Like it gives me this blueprint that is extraordinary. And I do a human design reading on you and you would say, Heather, You don't know me. How do you know these things about me? I would say, because it's in your chart. And so it helps me help other people and it helps me help you help yourself because it's that foundation of actually knowing yourself. What I have clients say over and over and over again is I've fought against that that desire to do this my whole life. You're telling me I'm supposed to do that? Well, yes, I am. Or, gosh, I've apologized for that behavior forever. And that's the way I'm built. Yes, it is. So it gives people a foundation to forgive themselves, to try new things, to trust themselves. And there's something that shifts in human design. I was having this conversation with a client I did a reading for last week, and
Mhm.
they said, it's one thing to decide for myself, I'm going to be this type of person who does this type of thing. It's something entirely different for you to say, this is how you're made to be because all of a sudden it's not you choosing it. It's just the way it is. Kind of like being gay. It's just the way it is. This is who you are. You didn't choose it. It's just who you are, right? And so it's this beautiful freedom self discovery method that has 100% changed my life and my business and the lives of every single client that I work with.
Thank you for that. And
Yeah.
yeah, there's always a part of me that's like, no, that's not fair. You can't just say, oh, you were born on this day at this time in this
Let me do
place.
a reading for you and then
Therefore,
you
this
can
is
tell
this
me.
is you. I mean, but it's how does that like, right? Like at some
Yeah.
point, I don't know. I guess you want to say nature nurture, but that's like, no, not even nature nurture, just location type of nature.
I know it is weird. I don't know how it works. There's a
Yeah.
lot of quantum physics in it. It's an energy thing, an energy field thing. Um, I'm not a religious person at all, but I do know, I believe in science enough to say, like, I don't know. I don't know, but you show me that it works, and I'm going to believe you that it works, and we're going to do this. If you let me do a reading for you, you would be amazed. It will blow your mind.
That's fair. That's fair. And then part of me is also like, well, what if I lie? What if I say that my birthday is my brother's birthday? Are you gonna like, is it gonna tell
Well, if
me
you
who
say that
he
it's your
is? That
brother's
would be
birthday, then I
interesting.
would read your brother's chart with your name on it. And you
That
would
would
be like, well,
be
that doesn't sound like me, but it sure does sound like my brother.
yeah. So like if my brother and my and one of my nieces have the same birthday,
So it's, they
I guess if it's years.
could,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, they could be, I would assume it's not their child. It's not your brother's child, but yes,
Right.
literally the year, the date, the
Mhm.
exact time and the location.
Okay.
So identical twins, this is interesting. Identical twins do have identical charts. However, if they are born more than a couple of minutes apart, there can be a couple of differences in their charts.
Hmm. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, yeah. Part of me is like, that can't be real. Find the science, find the data. Give me the data to tell me it's fake. But also, at the end of the day, I will take you up on that reading.
There you
Uh,
go.
But I think I've done some things online, like maybe gene keys. Gene
Gene
keys,
keys are
is that a
related.
thing?
Yeah, there are gates in human design, and the
Mhm.
64 gates equate to the 64 gene keys. So, yes.
Okay. Yeah, like someone told me about it, and it's actually fun because I love this person. She's a great friend, and when she talked about it on like a WhatsApp message, it sounded like she said jinkies. So every time I think about it, I'm like,
Like,
oh,
what
the
is that?
jinkies. My jinkies is so good at telling me what to do. You should try your jinkies. And I'm like, oh. Um, mhm. I appreciate that. Okay. But what were we talking about? So you mentioned previously that you have some events coming on, or at least one main event coming on in the
Yeah. So we have a few in conjunction with private one-on-one coaching and the Spark Collective membership. I host retreats, and the retreats are all about creating community and loving yourself and exploring yourself and being kind to yourself and having joy for the sake of joy. So May 14th to the 17th, I'm co-collaborating with my friend, Dr. Erin Baker. Erin is just a lovely human. Um, we are co-hosting a queer women AFAB retreat in Greensboro, North Carolina. It is going to be 12 people. and it's we're
Mhm.
calling it a come home to yourself. So it's partly like, and I know that you and the listeners, I know we know this, but we sometimes forget queer community isn't just nice to have, it's necessary. And maybe you have a wonderful, thriving queer community that you're active in, or maybe you don't. And maybe you want to create community and it's a particularly beautiful, safe space. Like I said, it's women and AFAB folk only because it's such a small, intimate space, but it's a
Mhm.
journey to self, an opportunity to think about who and how you want to be in the world and also just have fun. Joy for the sake of joy. We're super excited and we've been really thoughtful about how we're creating this event. So if you are interested in that, I would love to talk with you about joining us. We only have a limited number of spots left. And retreats are one of those things where a lot of folks kind of like coaching. They're like, wait, that's a thing that exists. What do you mean? Where am I going? It's a few days that you go kind of on a vacation and you hang out and you laugh and you try new things and you explore and you have a good time. And we were able to create this experience. I think it starts as little as $1,300, which is all inclusive once you get there for all 4 days, food, drink, all the activities. So to me, that's like a really reasonable price point. It goes up from there depending on whether you want a room to yourself or things like that. And then I'm also doing, and so the early bird is open right now, January 2026. I am taking 30 people. I know you should see your face.
So,
I am
okay, so 2
taking
years from now.
30 people to Costa Rica. And because this is such a beautiful, big, expansive trip, you want to take a lot of time to plan for it and to budget for it. It is almost 2 years from now. I know. And to the people who say, I don't know what I'm doing next week. How can I know what I'm doing in January of 2026? What you're doing is going to Costa Rica with me. Block out the dates on your calendar. That's a journey to self. And I'm not a practitioner there. I am only there to cultivate the community and bring people together. And we are going to have the most magical time at the beach in the rainforest with fire activation ceremonies and cacao ceremonies and just so much joy and so much fun. And I'm beyond excited about this beautiful, it's a plant-based only retreat. It's just a lovely, lovely space to be in. And I'm so excited for the 30 people that get to go with me for that retreat.
Awesome. And is that open to
Open
everyone?
to everyone. Everyone gets to come. That's I had some clients, particularly some AMAB clients who were like, I love this for you, but what about me? Like I want to go and or male clients in general. And I said, I promise there's going to be plenty for everyone. And that was tricky, right? Because I don't want to be exclusionary. I don't want to leave anybody out,
Yeah.
but I do know how important it is. It changes things if you have been socialized female at some point in your life. You have lived experiences that other people who haven't been socialized female have. And it's important to create safe space for those folks. Um, so yeah, it was hard, but Costa Rica is open for everyone, and you can bring a partner or a friend. You guys can room together, or I've got people who are coming totally solo and they're super excited to meet all sorts of new people. What everybody who comes to my retreats has in common is they're willing to explore and be open minded, and they like curse words because you've already heard me curse. And obviously, everybody is super loving and affirming of all people, every kind of person, because otherwise they're not into me. So,
Hear that tension between something that's for everyone and something that's
yeah,
only for a specific group of people.
yeah.
And I think there is no easy answer there
Mm-mm.
because, yes, you want everybody there, but sometimes when you're in your group and you're like in your smaller group of that group, it's like finally,
Yeah.
there's the little parts of ourselves that it's not that we want to hide them, but it's that it changes. It changes the dynamic.
It
And
does change the
it's
dynamic. And it takes away some barriers that
yeah.
might be hurdles that you would have to go over otherwise. And it isn't to say you wouldn't go over them, but they
Mhm.
just disappear, which is nice.
Yeah. And especially when it comes to like being queer in different ways, I think we're all there are many spaces that are not only queer spaces.
Yeah,
So it's like, okay, we've gone through the explanations, we've gone through the unhelpful questions or answers, and even if the people around us are safe and affirming and won't ask those questions, we still have that, in our mind that they might be doing it. So I'm like, oh,
absolutely.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But that sounds cool. January 2026. And then the other event is May 14 to 17.
Of
And
2024, this year, coming up
24.
right away.
Okay.
Let's get you there. not
Awesome. Awesome.
not you, but
You, I mean, maybe. Yeah. I mean, maybe not. Okay, not the main one, but maybe the one in January 2026. Because,
yes,
I
I would
have an
love to have you
idea
there.
of what I'm doing next week. I have no idea what's going on in 2026.
Well,
Uh,
I know what's going on. Block
oh,
your
yeah,
calendar right now. You're going to Costa Rica with me.
that's true. I mean, if you could tell me about my life based on when I was born, that was like 30 something years ago. So what's another 2 years?
Exactly. But
Yeah.
that brings up a really interesting point is we box ourselves into what we can and can't do all the time.
Mhm.
Oh, I can't make a commitment that far out. I had a client earlier today who said, "Oh, I don't like to make goals because they restrict me." And I'm like, "You get to change your mind. You can make a goal and make a plan and start working towards that goal and then decide that I don't want that thing anymore. I want to shift and do something different." Like you have that right and that power. But if you don't make a plan, nothing happens. If you don't decide what direction you want to go, nothing happens. And so this applies. I mean, it's silly and we're having fun with it, but I say to people who are like, I really like that idea. I want to do it. So do it. So prioritize it, plan it, and plan around it. Tell your colleagues, your family, your friend, your boss, like these dates, I'm gonna be in Costa Rica.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. And I feel like if I were to tell that to anybody, almost anybody in my world, for better or worse, they'd be like, "What? It's 2024. I don't even know
Yeah,
what's happening in 2025. Why are you telling me about this?" And then part of my mind goes to like, "Wait, so you would make a goal and then change the goal? Then
you
what's the point of the
can.
goal?" But it's all, I think that freedom and that permission slip
Yeah.
is one of those challenges that maybe I need to I work with at times. It's like give myself the
Yeah.
freedom and the permission to do that. Because like it's easy in my mind, let's say, to be like, oh, if I do this, then that's gonna happen and that's gonna happen. And then I'm a terrible person and see, everyone's dead because of me. Whereas if I choose to do something different, or even if it was going in that direction, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't let it go to that end point.
Exactly. I mean, you
So,
said something interesting. Well, why set the goal in the first place? But let me turn that back on you. Why might you set the goal in the first place, even if there's a possibility you would change your mind? What could the benefits to you be?
yeah, I mean, I haven't been to Costa Rica in like 5 years. Thanks, Facebook, for reminding me. And now there'd be a plan to go,
Yeah.
which is something that I do want to go back there. Because when I did go, I went with one friend because some other friends backed out. And it was beautiful, but it was maybe off season. So there were a lot of, we're the only people here. And we weren't dating. So it wasn't as, it
So,
wasn't like a
so
romantic
research is
super
good. Maybe do
experience.
your research. Yeah. I wasn't specifically asking about Costa Rica, but yeah, I love that. We're gonna have a buyout of the property. We're gonna have the entire property to ourselves, 30 amazing people. But in general, with goal setting and changing your mind, when you set a goal,
Mhm.
you start to take action. It gets you out of stuck. It gets you from one point to another. And I always encourage everyone to be consistently practicing the 3 R's from the Brave Method, which is my own approach to dreaming, designing, building, and having a life you are madly in love with: reassessment,
Mhm.
reframing, and resilience. So we are different people all the time. What we need changes all the time. Who we're around changes pretty consistently. So if you aren't reassessing and reevaluating, you could be going after a goal that you're not even interested in anymore. So, yes, set the goal. Yes, get in motion, do the thing, because then you get out of stuck, but then make sure it's still what you want.
I like that. I like that because I do personally, I experience that sometimes. And
Mm.
with some other friends, they're able, when they say things, it's easier to see in other people because,
Yes.
it's easier to have that outside experience perspective.
Yeah.
Where, you're working on something because you said you'd work on something, even though the reasons you work on it is good. So even if you get the thing you said you were going for, it doesn't really matter anymore, but you're still
Doesn't.
going for it. Interesting.
Yes. And that will lead to burnout and frustration and disappointment and self sabotage and being hard on yourself and all of those things. So, if you're experiencing any of those things that I just mentioned, chances are you're saying yes to something that's a no for you, that doesn't feel aligned, that's not expansive. So, the question is, is it something you need to see through, or is it something you can just shift? Is it something you can delegate? Can you just walk away? Working with a coach can help you identify all of that.
Awesome. And I love it because it's bringing more examples into why coaching is an actual industry full of people who aren't just trying to like get one over you and actually can
Absolutely.
help people grow and expand.
Absolutely. And I'm a significantly overqualified coach. I'm super certified. I'm ICF, which is Internal Coaching
Right.
Federation certified. I'm certified in NLP and human design and positive psychology and success coaching. So it is important to make sure that whoever you're working with, you trust them, that you feel aligned, that you like their approach and their message. And yeah, we can be trained. We should be trained. Don't work with somebody who's not trained.
Awesome. So when it comes to coaching, what is your number one favorite part of the journey or the experience?
Okay. So I have a lot of parts that I love. I really feel grateful that I get to do this work. I think, and this is going to sound crazy, is the way afterwards when somebody is has graduated from working with me, because most of my clients do stay in touch somehow. I will get random messages or phone calls or emails that say, I did this thing today and I felt so brave and I trusted myself and it was incredible and I knew you would want to know. I knew you would want to know so you could celebrate with me. I think that's my favorite when I can see this work lighting people up months and years after I have supported them. And not only does it still work for them, but they think of me fondly enough to share it with me.
That's beautiful. Okay, so now my favorite question to ask in this podcast.
Mm,
As a member of our LGBTQ plus community, what's a future vision you have for the next step or an improvement to us, to we,
yeah,
who we are?
that's a really big question. Um, I I I can't imagine that there's a varying. There probably are varying answers. For me, it's just ease and joy. Like I want all of us to be able to do whatever we want to do with whomever we want to do it with ease and joy, and to be free, to not worry about what someone else is going to think or what someone else is going to say or how somebody else will react, because we can, we have, we know, like, and trust ourselves. And it's just, we're safe.
That's a beautiful picture, and it connects
Mm.
to what you were saying earlier.
Yeah. I mean, I do this work because this work is important to my life, because I think it matters in the world. But that wasn't a sales pitch. It's just true. Like, this is a really random offshoot, but I'm fully obsessed with Red, White, and Royal Blue, the movie and the book. You can even see over my shoulders the French version of the book. The movie came out. Look, it's a cheesy rom com. I don't know if you've seen it or if you haven't seen it. It's a
Mhm.
cheesy rom com. I watched it. I went to bed. I woke up. I was like, I need to watch it again. It was like 6 a.m. I need to watch it again. And I cried. And then I watched it all day and I cried all day. And then I wrote a blog post about it. And what it boiled down to is, this is the world I want to live in. I want to live in a world where there's a woman president who's married to an immigrant and their son comes out as bi and it's not a big deal. And his partner is the Prince of England and it's not really that big of a deal. And they get to just be happy. Everybody just gets to show up and do the thing that they're great at and love who they want to love and be happy. And so, yeah, I'm obsessed with it because when I feel a little bit lost or a little scared or just downtrodden because it's all a big dumpster fire right now, I go into that world because that's the world that I work all day, every day to be part of creating. And I believe we can get there eventually.
I love it, especially create helping to create that kind of world and
I'm trying.
that world with people. That's how I felt when I watched Heartbreaker.
Oh, I
That
love Heartbreaker. Same
show.
feeling
It's
for
just like
sure.
so cute and
Yes.
so like everything sort of goes well. I feel like
Yep.
maybe the second season I was like something bad's gonna happen, something bad's gonna happen, something bad's gonna happen, and like nothing bad happened. And I'm like, oh, it's I
They
can
just get to be happy. They just get
yeah.
to be happy. Yes, I love Heartbreaker. Exactly the same feeling. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you for that vision and sharing um what you're up to. I feel like
Thanks
I
for asking.
this lightness and ease that you provide and you want
Mm.
people to experience. It comes through. Also, you're smiling when you were talking about different random things. There's like a face that you make that's like, ooh, I'm excited about this. Here's how I'm gonna talk about it. And so,
I'm an open
I,
book. That's for sure. I don't get to hide much.
but it's okay. You're hiding to the people on the podcast because they can't see you.
No,
Although they
that's
can
too
hear
bad.
you, and I just told them what was happening. But we'll also take a picture at the end of this and we'll put it on
Yeah.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Okay, so here are some quick questions that may or may not be quick.
Let's go.
All right, one, what is something that inspires you and why?
You're right. They're not quick because they take a little bit thought. Something that inspires me. I am consistently inspired by people who keep showing up for themselves, even though the noise around them tells them they're not worth showing up for.
What is your favorite self-care routine?
Great question. Right now, my favorite self care routine is doing a short somatic healing exercise every day. And I personally am using a course from someone called The Workout Witch. If you go to my website under resources, I have a link to it because it is completely changing the game for me. So it's like 6 to 10 minutes every day. And I listen to a subliminal hypnosis on the back end for whatever energy I want to bring into the day. And that and my morning cup of coffee, which comes first. It is the very first thing. Coffee brings me joy. I go to sleep at night, excited for coffee the next day. And then I do my somatic healing and just feel really connected to my body.
Awesome. And I'm glad there's a link for that on your website, which will be in the show notes. It's gonna be like, when you say somatic healing, what does that mean? What does
Yeah.
that mean?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, people can find that out on your website. Are you ready?
I'm so ready, but your face is, oh my God. Oh, am I ready? I don't know.
Do you have a favorite joke or something you recently laughed at? Preferably,
Oh, okay. I'm going to tell you my favorite dumb joke that my daughter loves to say. Knock, knock,
who's there?
Europe.
Europe, who?
No, Europe who?
Nice.
It's so dumb,
Fun.
but it makes me laugh. It makes her laugh so hard, and that makes me laugh.
Love it. Love it. So it's 2024, and my word of the year is co-creation.
Ooh.
If you could, what is something that you'd want to collaborate with others on this year?
Yeah, I love co collaboration. My word of the year is freedom, by the way. But
Good word.
um, I would love to co-collaborate and I am actively doing one-off events or retreats with other people, co-hosting with them so that we're bringing different audiences and communities together for wonderful growth and expansion and all of those things that we want in the world that we're creating together, we're co-creating together. I just love to partner with folks to bring those things out to the world.
Nice, nice. Who is a queer change maker that inspires you?
Yeah, so I don't know if you would know her or not, but she is a fellow podcaster, Anna Deshawn from she's got the Cube, which is an app,
Okay.
and Queer Podcast News. I love Anna. She happens to be local. Believe it or not, I didn't meet her locally. I met her at a podcasting conference several years ago that was not in Chicago, but she is just this amazing woman who I don't know, she just gets shit done. She decides she wants to do it and she just does it, and she is out for real changing the world in like incredible ways. And I just, my heart just lights up anytime I see Anna pop across my social media fields or in person. If you guys are not following Anna, you should.
Okay. I am 90% sure that I met her at the Creating Change conference in January.
You
Um,
may have.
the Cube definitely had a booth, and there were two people behind that booth, and they had a spin the wheel, win a prize thing.
Okay.
And we had a lot of fun taking pictures and and doing that.
Oh,
So
good.
I think I know
Good.
her. So awesome.
I
And
love
also
that.
people just share, I don't want to say just regular people, because these people aren't regular. They're like amazing and one of a kind and unique. And
Not a celebrity.
they don't have to be the celebrities, let's say.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
awesome. And now,
The celebrities don't need my help. You guys know them. You've found them and they're awesome. We love them. But, you know, yeah, it's the everyday people that inspire me.
and now the final question. Do you have a piece of advice or guiding word of wisdom that you hold on to and that helps you throughout your journey?
I have two. One
Mm.
is that this work that I do and that I invite you to do to know, like, and trust yourself, that's brave. And when we choose bravery on purpose, we start to choose bigger, we win bigger, and it's contagious. That's the first one. The second one is, and I chant this all around the house all day long, other people's behavior is not about me. Taking radical responsibility for myself means not owning other people's actions and behavior, not making it about me. I center myself for me and I'll let them center themselves, and I won't judge. I will ask questions. I will be curious, and I will not take on everybody else's shit.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. Thank you for sharing both very wise quotes and words
Thank
and
you. Thank you very much.
a good example.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. It's nice to share space with you.
Same. This has been a treat. Thank you for listening to this episode of Queer Changemakers. This is Justin, and I hope you were able to get some inspiration and maybe some ideas about how you can take action to create positive change in your life, communities, and beyond. See you next time.